Whitlock here with another show with a false start as always. Thank you, Google. Today we're trying something. Actually, it's the first time. Done a lot of Google Hangout on air, a lot of webinars, teleseminars, radio shows. Today, finally doing something that's fairly common now, but first for me, a simulcast. So we are going to use this as this week's episode of the radio show, and also we have it live on Google for those of you tuned in. So anyway, my YouTube channel is on YouTube. It's Daily Warren, all one word, DAILYWARREN, or you can find me at warrenwhitlock.com or a bunch of other places. Google me. I'm out there someplace. And hopefully wherever you're listening to this, there's plenty of room for comments, sharing, subscribing, and yes, I do pay attention to all of those comments coming in and look forward to hearing from you and answering your first one. So without further ado, we are talking about connecting and networking today, which is, I do a show a week on another channel of that, and today I have Derek Coburn from CadreDC. Hi, Derek.
Hey Warren, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Great to see you and make this a new form of radio show. It's funny. There's probably about 50 episodes I did when I started the show back in 2008, where Blog Talk Radio was allowing a webcam to be on, and I did the normal thing of trying to make sure the light was bad, and I didn't want to bother getting prepared to be on the show. And today, I don't think you can do well in any kind of networking without allowing your face to be seen. So it's a fun experience here we're having today. And you're author of a book about networking. And so it's something that's going to tell us how to do hand out business cards better.
No, actually, and I tell you that, as you know in the title, it's called Networking is Not Working. Stop collecting business cards and start making meaningful connections. And I'm not anti-business card. That's what a lot of people think. I think they can be useful. I think they can actually be even more impactful now than they ever were, because if you have something that's really unique and different and you use it appropriately, it can set you apart from the pack. But my take on networking, based on personal experience and based on what I've seen a lot of my clients, friends, folks in my network put into place, is really doesn't have a lot to do with going to the big catch-all networking events, which I think a lot of people associate with the term networking.
Yeah, my rule of thumb is if it says bring plenty of business cards, I go ahead and cross it off my calendar.
Yeah, that's probably smart.
Because I have way too many business cards already. And I'm constantly, let me say, I don't even have to look. Anywhere I go, I've got business cards. Sitting here, and found one this morning. I found this one that says, "Hello, my name is" on the top of it, and I'm covering up what it says. It's actually printed, commercial printing with that, and then there's a business card on the back, and I'm going. It did catch my eye on my desk, but it wasn't a positive type of thing.
Yeah, and at least half of those people went back to the office the next day and were high-fiving their colleagues because they handed you and presumably a number of other people their business cards, because that's the metric that some people use to determine success when it comes to networking.
Right, and I don't want to get into a whole interview on business cards. My personal take on it is, I say I'm not carrying any business cards. I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I won't. Anything like that. I ran a business printing laser printer things, from desktop publishing on to fixing the printer. Became a Hewlett-Packard dealer, supplies, all sorts of things as a former career. And so me designing a business cards in 5 minutes, printing it out and taking it to an event that's got, my face and "I met you at this mixer." now. I take your business card, I take a picture of it, it goes into a system. I have an automated email response, one. It's not a list, it's just one automated response says, hi, this is an automated message. I send it personally, because that's true. Every card, when it's scanned, I have to click off, which email. And here's my contact. So go ahead and give us I've got some more to say on that, but before I get carried away with my stuff, let's go ahead and ask you. What basically is the method? Do you have a 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, or laws or rules that we follow to network well?
In terms of following up with someone that you meet?
What's the system? I don't want to read your book, give it to me in a sentence. I'm kidding, because I did apologize before we started recording that I didn't read your book. I love to read books of people I'm interviewing, and didn't realize till I was getting ready this morning that it just slipped my mind, or the book's probably sitting on my Kindle waiting to read. So, coming to you fresh and saying, what is the great system that you've got that replaces the business card bingo games?
Yeah, so the first, and believe me, it's not holding anything against you for not having read my book yet. It's all good. I'm here. I'm glad we met, and I'm glad can tell the story. So the first part of the book, the first third, let's call it, is really calling into question the effectiveness of larger events. And so there's two primary reasons why I say networking is not working. And the first is I feel like it has become a word or a term that it has it's defined differently by everyone. I mean, for some people it's an adjective, for some people it's a verb, for some people it's a way to find a new job, for others it's how you get new business. And I think that the success of your networking efforts, regardless of how you're defining it, is really dependent upon you being around people who are showing up for the same reason you are. And I think the second reason networking is not working is because of the close association with the larger event, because that's usually where you're unlikely to go to a larger event where everyone is there for the same reasons as you. And there's a quote from my friend David Siteman Garland in his book where he said large networking events are like nightclubs, and that everyone's looking for a professional one-night stand. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And if we were to keep with the dating analogy, and obviously if I'm networking, if you're networking, it's to develop relationships with other people. We know it takes time. We want to find people and learn more about them and how we might be able to add value for them, how people in our network might be able to help them, or vice versa. Unlike dating where it's monogamous, if we were to look at the dating books that are all about finding the love of your life or your soulmate, they don't start off by saying keep going to nightclubs and bars all the time. They say stop doing that altogether and offer up things like turning to your friends, going on double dates, hosting dinner parties. And so I think that there's a lot that we can learn from that, and I think the ability to successfully network can be done without having to go to these large events.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting because we just recorded a show. I'm on my way to an expo type of thing, and there's 600 people at it this weekend in Dallas, and we like to do a show about telling people how to attend an event. It's something that my partner on that project and I have been doing for years in various different forms. We happen to be doing a weekly podcast right now, and so we decided, and it's a podcasting group, so we figured it was a pretty good idea to give our thoughts on how to prepare and what to do. And we got into quite a discussion over how many people do you want to meet, because I do some things that are pretty much casting a wide net. I am actually today running ads on Twitter, with a grand investment of $10 or $15, to reach people that are attending that event and using the hashtag. Because that's something I do professionally, and I'm experimenting with that. And all the time since the show, I've been thinking, like, that's really not what I want. If I, fly across the country, take out that time and do all that, I'm not going for the sessions. I'm going for the networking. I'm not going to see my friends, even though, my business partner is meeting me there. It's one of the things we discussed. We're not there to hang out with each other. Obviously we'll spend some time, but I'm there to see a couple of old friends, and then let serendipity work and meet some new people. And that comes from having that time and not expecting that there's somebody I got to meet. Now, if there was a vendor I needed or a deal I wanted to make, certainly I'd do that, but I'd set up the meeting before I ever went to it. And so I tried this a few weeks ago. I keep experimenting myself all the time. And I went to an event. I volunteered to work one day. So I had on the volunteer shirt. I'm helping speakers find their room. And, I just wanted to see a different sides of things. I was here in Vegas and took no effort. It's not like I had to break a sweat to show a speaker where the room was. And I got talking to one guy, and it was interesting, and he had to go. And a while later, I ran into this guy as we were both coming out of the bathroom, and we started up a conversation like we're good friends. Instant rapport. Want to do more business with this guy. Got his contact information, and I was literally too busy to talk to him because I, had to go cart off something more or sneak the speaker's food. I think that's what I was really trying to do. But for whatever reason, I was on to the next thing. And, that one connection could be worth a whole lot. And it was all about letting go of the idea that day was anything about collecting business cards or anything of the sort. So it really resonates with what you're saying, is that if you're gonna date somebody you want to marry, you don't go looking for more and more and more. So I'm not canceling my ads because that's more of a thing I do for play. It's
right.
I'm still waiting, by the way. If you're coming to an event and you see me run an ad on Twitter, please come up and say hi, because that's the only reason I'm doing it, to see whether or not I can make that connection. Whether I once in a while ask somebody, "Did you see my ads on Twitter?" They go like, "No." I'm like, well, that's interesting, because every vendor runs the same thing like every 10 minutes on their organic feed, not paid or promoted, and some of them promote it. And it's all saying, come by our booth for a free flashlight, or actually here in Vegas, it's usually a free chip.
Yeah.
We're going to spin a roulette wheel and pretend we're in Vegas. And go like, I can walk out the door and I've got the best gambling on earth. Why do I need to play your stupid little game? Right. And one more thing I think about that is that, I don't know if you've heard this example before, networkers love to do huge dinners. And I'm invited to one at this event I'm going to, We're going to have 40 people there, and, it's pay for your own unless there's somebody who's a schmuck who gets stuck. Me, get the check for, half of the people or something. It comes up short. But I don't like that. I'd much rather go to dinner with one person or 3 or 4. For one thing, I'm not afraid of paying the bill when it's 4 people, and I can actually have a conversation with each of the people at the table. So is that kind of what it is, and making it more exclusive, quality over quantity?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that there's nothing wrong with putting your fate in the hands of serendipity from time to time, but I also feel like you can, there's a lot of people out there that have been going to networking events for years and never bothered to reflect on why they're doing it, what their goals are, what they're looking to get out of it. And, I mentioned in the book that for me personally, I transitioned from cold calling into going to networking events. And I actually think that going to these catch-all networking events can be just as inefficient as cold calling, But the difference is with cold calling, and I know that these days there's do not call lists. It's not as prevalent as it was when I started my career. You're getting that negative reinforcement on a daily basis to where you don't want to do it. You say, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to get to a point where I don't have to do it anymore. But you can go to these networking events. I mean, you run your ads and you can meet 10 people that, regardless of whether it's an ad or not, but you meet 10 people and you have nice conversations. They're nice people for 5 to 10 minutes a piece. But if nothing came out of it, are you going to say, gosh, why did I do that? And I don't think a lot of people do. And I think you couple that with the fact that as people become more successful, as their business grows, the value of their clients grow, the value of their time then grows. And if you had a business serving nothing but people that you loved, who were perfect clients, who did everything you asked them to do, they didn't ask a lot of questions, they didn't complain about price, they paid on time, you had a waiting list of others who couldn't wait to get in, you would probably never go to a networking event. And I don't think that there's many of us who are at that point yet, but as you get closer to it, you don't have the time for it, and therefore the people that are most sought after, the general, the avatar of the person that you want to meet at an event is often not there because, frankly, they have better things to do with their time.
Right. Well, and now your business now is bringing people together, charging a high enough price to get the riffraff out, and you actually have an application process before you let somebody in. So then I don't need to worry about, if I come to an event like that, whether or not I'm going to get hit up by the guy who just started selling insurance last week.
Yeah, I mean,
have anything against people selling insurance. It's just that I don't go to a networking event looking for insurance quotes.
Well, yeah. Well, if that takes place inside of Cadre, then you can get that anywhere. So why are you going to pay to be part of a group if you're going to be around people who are pitching you when you can do that on your own? And so we actually, in the first 2 years, we proactively started conversations with 25 individuals that range from, in one case, tricked the person into thinking they were getting together to just learn more about each other, and did try to sell them something. So it was, you're out and we're not even going to talk about it, all the way down to, you're not that engaged, you haven't been responsive, do you think it's going to change? It's just a busy time. But we essentially said it was $150,000 of annual revenue, and we said no thanks, because we want to keep the culture strong, and the reason why Cadre works, and it's unique, it's different, is that people let their guard down. They know when they show up, if they meet someone, they're there for the same reasons they are, and they can focus on getting to know each other better and how they might be able to help the other person out.
Well, I've seen some things that are done with groups that go off on a retreat to mastermind, or even adventure ones where people don't want to go sit in a boardroom, even if it is at a resort on an island, and they go out and do adventures, and of course they get that chance to spend a lot of time with the same type of people, and the value of that is cheap. And comparing what you do to, say, joining an exclusive country club or other things like that, networking and people doing the transactions of getting to know each other, building relationships, is going to go on no matter what. I'd hate to think that somebody thinks I'm doing well enough now that I'm never going to do anything except for go sit in the office and do my professional service for people. In between, because are all your events local then?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, and we'll plan out. A friend of mine, Jason Geinard, runs an event called Mastermind Talks, which is probably the best annual conference that I go to each year, and I'll work out some type of a perk for Cadre members, and we're going up to, about 12 of us are going up to New York in October for an event hosted by Dave Ramsey, Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, and so we'll do some of these road trips, but for the most part, it is local. And I'm actually I'm part of a group that is similar to what you just described, Maverick, which is founded by buddy
what I
mine,
was thinking of. Yeah.
yeah, Yannick Silver, and so
Yeah, Silver's been a friend for years.
yeah, I mean, I love that because it's forced trips and adventure that I would never take, and it's more rolling up your sleeves and talking about your
The
business.
reason I didn't join is it's trips I wouldn't take even if I was a member.
Right. Yeah. But it's business icons and
I'm an old fat guy who hasn't exercised in this millennium.
there's a handful of other old fat guys who are in it, but
I don't know. I think of going to hang out on Richard Branson's island as something where, I just don't see me with a naked woman on my back skiing, keeping up with that guy. And, I actually, I'm saying that in a positive way of, go, guys.
Yeah, Richard Branson's wife probably wouldn't like that too much, but
that was the picture from a few years ago, and I don't believe that was Yannick's event, but who knows?
The one thing I will say that you touched on was, other events and the reason why they're coming together, and I think you can tell a lot about who you're going to meet based on the headline or based on what's being advertised. So that 40-person event that you mentioned that said, there's going to be a lot of people there, or maybe it said bring a bunch of business cards, or there's plenty of events that we routinely have show up in our emails that say, there's going to be plenty of leads, there's going to be 300 people there, bring your business cards. Well, if everyone's showing up with that expectation, then you're probably not going to meet people there who are thinking about the big picture. And so Cadre, for example, we're basically all about that. Our key differentiator and what makes us unique is that we are vetting for people that have a pay it forward mindset, that want to help other people. So it's literally you join and you meet other people and you get to know them and learn more about how you can help them, and they're going to do the same for you. And that's obviously a different expectation than get more business, get more leads. And there's obviously a lot of business and leads that come from Cadre because we are not making it about that, and therefore people let their guard down and they more naturally get to know each other and things evolve in that manner.
Sure. Well, and it's interesting. What I'm noticing about it is in your model, you have the events like the speakers and whatnot. It's not getting together so you can pass leads. And so if you're not going to do that, you have to have some reason to get the group together. The masterminds is one way. The people with adventures is another way. And it has to be something more than that. And of course, one of the nice correlations there is, it's hard to do a good job of that people with money want to go to unless there's some kind of charge for it. And so it sounds like you got the right kind of attitude. You're not out to build the largest mailing list of people that joined your group and couldn't make it, and then do webinars for them where they can get to see Gary V on a webinar because they couldn't afford to go to the event.
Right.
Yep. And there's a place for all those type of things. I have had some just incredible evenings of the professional one-nighter, where I have found out about somebody, followed up or whatever, and the reason why I continue to do this thing about teaching people what to do at a big event is that just another tech-type guy who was in the background is somebody I ended up setting at an event now 8 years ago, and we're meeting again this weekend, and we're now doing regular business together. I've referred clients to him, he's referred clients to me. He's one of my best friends, and I wouldn't have got to know him if I hadn't gone out trying to do something. And actually what I did was, it was a luncheon for corporate podcasters, and there were only 2 people in the room that really mattered to me, what I was doing, obviously myself, and the guy sitting next to me. and everybody else has some job and was there because they were told to be there, and I'm going like, what a mistake. Oops. Except for one guy who's been, is now one of my best, closest friends. So I'm a big believer in serendipity, but that serendipity can't happen unless you go out and try something. So exactly what you're doing with Cadre, and what I look forward to reading more about in the book. And we'll have to get together some other time when I'm more educated on this. And and it sounds like we have a lot in common in a lot of ways of doing things. Actually, that's what the Billions Rising project was all about, is self-reliance. That most of the impoverished people, most of the people that are down and out that want to change, want to do something. And there's a difference between telling a bum to get a job and actually showing somebody a way to a better life. So I'm 100% for what you're doing there. Great. How about tell us where we can get the book or find out more about you. It's time for the plug, and we'll wrap up.
Great. Well, if I have a couple minutes, I'll tell you sort of how I approach the larger events.
Okay.
If that works.
Sure.
So
we've got we're not out of time. We're just like making sure we cover everything. So go right.
Yeah. So I think just because you've touched on this a little bit.
Closing comment, and we'll just edit here and say, hey, what about you? What do you think about going to the larger events?
Yeah, there you go. So in my book I talk about what I call networking 3.0, and I use this when I go to the larger events still to this day, but it's more effective in smaller settings. So networking 1.0 is where you're networking specifically to benefit yourself immediately. So instant gratification, I want to get a client. Networking 2.0 is this movement to how can I help you and what can I do for you to the person you're just meeting for the first time. And I think there's a lot of networking 1.0 professionals who read this in a book and they said, that sounds good. If I focus on the other person I'm meeting for the first time, then I can go first in the quid pro quo game. And that's always been weird to me, that if we just meet and you want to know how you can help me, what's the catch? And I'm all for paying it forward. Just let's go on a date first before you want to come over to my house. And so networking 3.0 is this idea where you are focusing on your existing clients and relationships. And when you go to these events, you are trying to identify people who are prospective clients for them and resources for them. And so I actually know I'm in a good enough position, at least here locally, where I won't even go to an event. Like, I think there can be plenty of serendipitous moments going to events, but also I can know other people there, and I want to make sure I have multiple wins or multiple ways to win in terms of validating the time I'm spending. So if there's a great speaker at an event, I know, okay, even if I do not meet one single person and form a bond with them while I'm there, but I got to hear an amazing speaker and got good content, it was still worth my time. If I know one of my great clients or prospective clients is going to be there and I can have a conversation with them, doesn't matter what happens with everyone else. But when I show up, and I'll give you an example that happened, but there's a lot of examples. I try to, instead of saying, here's what I do, or tell me how I can help you, I say, what do you have going on in your business for the next 6 to 12 months? What's a challenge, or what's an opportunity? Are you looking to grow, or are you looking to scale back? And I will try to identify what they need or what they may need, and think about who I can connect them with. And unlike these leads exchanges, these leads groups, or even just making a referral to say, hey, we just met, I'm going to introduce you to one of my clients to see if they want to hire you. That's a high risk, low reward proposition, in my opinion, because I'm putting someone that trusts me at the mercy of someone I don't know very well. Versus if I meet someone at an event and they say, what do you do? I say, I'm a financial advisor. What do you do? They say whatever they do. I'm going to need to talk to you in 2 years. I don't have any money to invest right now because I'm saving all of it for a new house. If they're being sincere with that, then I can connect them with a real estate agent or two from my network. And that becomes a very, in my opinion, a very low risk, high reward introduction, because even if nothing comes from it, I can say, hey, real estate buddy of mine, I just met this person, don't know much about them, but they're looking for a new house and they need to work with a great real estate agent. They still say, that's awesome. Derek was out and about. He was thinking about me. But what happens a lot more than you would think is that they actually end up working together, and the fact that you were the glue and making that connection and helping a couple of people solve a problem that they were having, it's more likely that they're going to turn to you if and when they need whatever it is you provide.
Great. Well, that's to me, it's like the way we ought to be doing business is looking out for the other guy, and if you rise up to that level of service, then the right kind of people are going to be attracted to you, and we never have a problem with enough leads. There's more people want us than we can ever get to, especially in an age where we're connected to billions of people. The business we need, the income, is out there someplace.
Yep. Now, you mentioned the vendor you mentioned earlier. Is that a vendor that you do business with, that you pay that vendor, or that vendor pays you? A hypothetical example from earlier with the conference that you said, hey, if there's a vendor there that...
Oh, I was making that up. There are vendors, and actually the other story that happened on the other event that I just went to, there were vendors. The vendors there were all startups. And I wanted to see all of the startups. I love seeing startups. I went to the NAB convention, and the only thing I really enjoyed seeing was, not the old broadcast stuff that they're not changing anything, but off in a corner there were 10 companies that somebody had put a pavilion together of startups. It was fantastic. There's actually 2 of them at that show. So I go to this one. They have 10. They're all lined up. I get to the first one. It's somebody I'm currently doing business with. They found out that I was, an influencer, and they should have been comping me an account. So that was nice. So monetarily, it actually paid off to spend the time with him. But I had a sensational conversation with this guy. Well, it was only an hour that this whole thing was open. And I got done with him, and the rest of the booths were taken down. And the initial reaction was, boy, I haven't got enough stuff done. But wow, and it just monetary, it adds up to a few $100s a year that I'm saving because he upgraded my account. But not even counting that, the connection I have, the guy I have that I can contact when things aren't going right, that's great, that I can recommend other people to. He told me about the affiliate program. I don't care. I'm not moving enough units to worry about that. But if I have a consulting client, I'll tell him to use this tool. And so when it's a vendor, it's the same thing as, to me, they're all the same. I've sold to vendors, I've bought from vendors, I've gone on every sort of direction. But what you say about the third generation is wonderful. I've heard of a similar thing called the trialogue, that instead of having instead of being introduced to somebody or trying to figure out what you could do for them, you actually find 2 people, get them introduced to each other, and then you can walk away and you're the hero. And I focus on the inception of that, like the movie Inception, minus all the sci-fi and drama. The idea they were trying to I'm getting mixed up because I'm talking about ideas. But the meme of the whole thing was that an inception is putting a thought in somebody's head that they think of instead of you giving it to them. And I think that's where we're headed with this sort of thing. What you said, that what I'm trying to relate is that when you can get to a point that years from now somebody says, thank goodness I went to that networking event and ran into Derek. And that was the night I got that idea. And so there are things where I've gone to absolutely horrible events, met somebody, and I have to thank the person for holding the horrible event, that I was able to meet that person and do business with them years later. In fact, I would say all of the significant things I get done in life are a result of some kind of meeting like that. And got a lot of gratitude to the people that are trying to do whatever. So let's go ahead then with that and figure out how do we get a hold of you, or you're in the DC area, so you're not looking for anybody with a business card to come join you. But if somebody is there, or if somebody just wants to read your book and find out more about what you do, where do they go?
Yeah, thanks. So, they can get my book on Amazon. It's called Networking is Not Working. They can get a free chapter at derekcoburn.com/book. And, CadreDC.com is our website for Cadre, which talks about sort of our model and how we do things to a certain extent. And I probably do most of my networking and connecting online on Twitter, and my handle there is CadreDC as well. So it'd be great to connect with some people, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Maybe I can get some bucks out of it. Cadre. I love the word cadre. I don't use it hardly ever. CADRE DC. So CadreDC.com. It's been our guest, Derek, who I want to call you Derek Cadre, Derek Coburn, CadreDC. And that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Warren.